What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can build a basic calculator using everything we have learned so far. This includes variables, strings, input statements, number functions, and all of the above. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is create a variable. Let's call it num1, which is short for number 1. And this variable is going to hold the first number that the user is going to input. I'm going to set this variable equal to input, and in quotation marks we're going to type enter a number. We're going to create another variable, and this time we're going to call it num2, and we're going to set it to input, and in this parentheses we're going to say enter another number. We need to create one last variable, and let's call it answer. We're going to set it to num1 plus num2. Now this variable is going to be responsible for adding our two variables together. And we need to do one more thing known as calling the variable. So we're going to do that using the print statement. So below this we can say print, and in this parentheses we can have the variable answer. Now to a beginner, this program might look overwhelming, but I'm going to explain what's going on before I run it. At the top we created a variable and we called it num1. And this variable is going to be responsible for storing the first piece of information that the user enters. That's why we added this input enter a number. Now below this line we created another variable and we called it num2. And in this variable we're going to store some more info that the user inputs. Now that we have our two variables, we need another variable that's going to handle or take care of these two variables. That's why we created this other variable and we called it answer. Now this variable is going to add whatever is in num1 and whatever is in num2. And then once we have a value, we want to print it out onto the screen so that the user can see it. That's why we added this print statement down here. Now that you know what's going on, let's run the program. It says enter a number. I'm going to enter 4, then I'm going to click enter. Then it's going to say enter another number. I'm going to enter 6. And now when you hit enter, Python gives us 46. Now this is not the answer we wanted. This happened because whenever we get input from a user, Python automatically treats that information as a string. So in other words, Python is trying to join two sentences instead of doing math. So what we need to do is come back to our code, and in this variable we need to put the integer function. So basically what this does is that it changes the user's input into a number. Now when you run our code, over here I'm going to enter 6, and over here I'm going to enter 7. Now when I click enter, you'll see that gives us 13. So now that works. But now we have another problem. If we rerun this file, and this time we try and enter decimal numbers like 4.4 and 3.2, we get an error message telling us that the integer function can't handle these decimal numbers. So what we need to do is come back to our code one more time, and this time instead of saying integer, we're going to say float. And what this does is that it converts whatever the user inputs to a decimal. So when I rerun the program and I enter 4.4, and over here I enter 3.2, it gives us 7.6. And the cool thing about this float function is that it can handle integers as well. So when I rerun the file, and this time I enter 4.4 and 5, it gives us 9.4. Now if you want to perform different operations other than addition, you can change that over here in the answer variable. And that's how you can build a basic calculator. This video hopefully shows you how we can use everything we've learned so far to build a practical program. Now there are other ways of building this calculator, and that's the beauty of programming. You can write code in many different ways, but at the end of the day perform the same task. Now don't be afraid to tweak and change this code. But that's it from my side. If you enjoyed or found this video helpful in any way, shape or form, then consider leaving a like and subscribing. Turn on post notifications to be the first to know when I upload a new video. Also, if you have any constructive criticism or any questions or anything, comment them down below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.